Good morning, and welcome to anybody who's new with us today. Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every disease and every infirmity. In today's gospel, and in many other parts of the gospels, Jesus heals people. Throughout his life, Jesus healed the blind, the deaf, the lame, and the crippled. But feeding or healing people was actually only a very small part of his ministry, because physical healing is always temporary regarding of how enjoyable and necessary it may be at the time. Without exception, every single person that Jesus healed eventually died. And every single person that Jesus fed eventually got hungry again. So if Jesus had only come to heal or to feed, his ministry would have been interesting, but actually not very long lasting or significant, because it would only have lasted until the next meal. Jesus healed the sicknesses of both the soul and the body, but gave more attention to healing the soul in order to encourage us to look at our spiritual sicknesses. Every single one of us is very blessed in so many ways, but also every single one of us has some sort of spiritual illness that inflicts us. We can only grow in our spiritual life if we dig deep into our soul and search for those wounds that we want Jesus to heal us from. So today, especially when we come to church and spend time in prayer, we can ask ourselves, what spiritual sickness, what spiritual malady, what spiritual tiredness do we want Jesus to heal us from? There may be many. There may be actually a very long list. But when we start working on one or two, we begin to feel our growth in our faith. There are many sicknesses, not only in us, but also in the world around us. But perhaps one of the most common spiritual sicknesses that we see is the spiritual sickness of busyness. Everyone seems to be busy. This is a spiritual sickness because we fill our lives with things that seem important, but only to find out that we have little time for the things that are crucial, such as healthy relationships with family and friends, prayer, and quiet time for spiritual reading. Many people, if not everyone, seems to be on a constant go, go, go. Always something to do and somewhere to go. Definitely the demands and pressures of life require hard work. We certainly have responsibilities and should avoid laziness, but we should also realize that there is always more to do, more games to play, more TV to watch, more money to make, and more things to do. At times, we set unrealistic goals and expectations that unfortunately put a very heavy burden on us. And this burden creates a lot of extra anxiety in our hearts because all these expectations that we place on us and on others become unbearable. There's a story about a meeting that Satan had with a few of his friends. He said to them, "We won't be able to make Christianity illegal in America, but actually we can do much better. Let them enjoy their life, but keep them busy so that they will not have any time to think about God or their families. Keep them busy with the non-essentials of life and invent as many schemes as possible to occupy their minds. Tempt them to spend, and then to borrow. Keep them in this cycle as long as possible by convincing them that they need more to impress everyone around them. Convince them that without all their glamour, no one will like them or want to spend any time with them. Persuade them to work long hours on 6 to 7 days a week. This way, they will not be able to spend time with their family, and soon they will not be interested in each other. If you see them with a free evening and a few extra dollars in their pockets, convince them that the best place to be is at a restaurant or some outing, or even better, the casino. Keep them busy with constant noise, with music, TV, computers, newspapers, magazines, sports, entertainment events, and long hours playing with their phones. Remember, the more they think of themselves, the less they will think of God and the needs of others. In short, keep everyone busy. B.U.S.Y. Burdened under Satan's yoke. The question for us is what we're doing aligning to the long-term spiritual goals we want to achieve? Or has the devil been successful in keeping us busy, B-U-S-Y, with things that are distracting us from who we are or who we want to be? Jesus came to heal us from this constant busyness by reminding us of the essentials of life, our spiritual life. Church and family are much more important than extra long hours at work, entertainment, and even money, even if these may bring us temporary joy. It is good to decide as a family when you will be spending time with each other, and specifically what you will be doing. Specific goals are always the best because they are concrete and achievable. We do this in order to enjoy the blessings, the many blessings of family life, and the blessings of having a family, and the blessings of being with our family. Robots can sit right next to each other, but only humans can talk, listen, and respond to each other's needs and interests. This is what it means to be fully human and to be a real human. And this is what Jesus does in today's gospel and throughout his life. Jesus always stops. He stops to see, he stops to talk, he stops to listen, and he stops to respond to the needs of all those around him. He stops to heal, both physically and, more importantly, he stops to heal spiritually. Heal that need, that spiritual need for us to talk and be with each other. No amount of money, no amount of accomplishments can replace the lost memories of growing up as a family together. No one, nothing, no dignity, no honor, no position can replace the love that we give each other. Unfortunately, sometimes people only realize they have children when children start leaving the home. Your family time is precious. It is irreplaceable, and it is not renewable. It is a one-time gift you have every single day. Also, a married couple needs to constantly work on their friendship. What a tragedy it is when a couple is married for 10, 15, 20, or 30 years or more, and then realize they have very little in common, or even worse, that they have very little respect for each other. This only happens when couples overlook the importance of spending time with each other every day, the importance of talking with each other, and the importance of listening to each other and being there for each other on a regular basis. If we don't set certain priorities in our life, there will always be something keeping us busy. We can certainly say that today's gospel, Jesus wants to heal us from whatever spiritual sicknesses we can identify. In particular, he wants to heal us from what may be considered something of a hypnosis that has been cast upon us that keeps us busy, burdened under Satan's yoke, so that we will not have time for church, for prayer, for family, and the other things that bring us lasting and meaningful results in our lives. Putting God and others first should be our priority, as this is one of the main messages that Jesus came to bring us. We all need to be healed of many things, but specifically, we need to be healed of our busyness, especially if that busyness blinds us to the most important and lasting things in this world: time with God in prayer and real time that is meaningful with our family. Because of this, we should all say to ourselves that we will never be too busy.